Okay, hey Reddit. So this is my thread that I made about 10 months ago on what I was testing to get rid of my floaters. And this thread was a complete mess because I had no idea what I was doing. But I can understand chemistry fairly well. I do have a background in chemistry. I'm not a doctor, not a PhD. I just like reading chemistry. I did major in college. But so I was trying a lot of things, and one of the first things that I got interested in was testing enzymes to remove floaters, and I tested tons of vitamins. And let me show you where all my vitamins are here. So these are all the vitamins that I've bought over the last year just to test different things and see if anything helped get rid of my floaters. And I have tons of supplements, and right now I have a lot of stuff on the floor because I was at my mom's living there for a couple of months. My dad passed recently of lung cancer, but I've been trying to take care of her. So all these supplements I bought, and it's a lot of supplements, and I was just looking for things that had an effect on my vision. And so one of the first things I started doing was testing high doses of isolated B vitamins. So back here are all the B vitamins. I have 14 different bottles of isolated B vitamins. I have allethiamine, I have sibutylmine, I have benfotiamine, activated B2, niacinamide, niacin, P5P. I have every B vitamin, and I was testing those at absurd doses to see if any had an impact or made my floaters better. And I did notice that the fat-soluble thiamines like allethiamine, you're not going out. No, you're not going out. Not right now. I noticed the fat-soluble vitamins like allethiamine did have a kind of, a minor impact. They seemed to make my vision a little better and made the floaters a little less visible. And were there any other vitamins? Yes, so the folate, the methylfolate, which is back here, this is the 7.5 milligram methylfolate. That also had an impact when I first started taking it with methyl B12. I noticed that my vision didn't get much better. But I kept noticing this pattern where sometimes things would work and my floaters would get better and then they would come right back. And I had no idea what was going on. And eventually I moved on to buying enzymes, and so I have 4 different enzymes right here. Serrapeptase, I have a Digest Gold, nattokinase, and bromelain. The Digest Gold really has no impact. The ones I would recommend that you get, and I'll explain why. So serrapeptase, I would recommend, nattokinase, and the bromelain. Now, if you read research in NCBI, you'll see that they ran a bunch of studies using bromelain. Some other studies mixed bromelain with papain, and they were able to reduce floaters over the course of, I think, 6 months. They had 60 to 70% of people noticed a reduction in floaters. And I did notice when I first started bromelain that it did have a similar impact it seemed to break up the floaters, similar to how the allethiamine had a minor impact, the methylfolate and B12 had a minor impact, and so did the bromelain. But it just didn't work long term. Long term, I kept taking the bromelain, and the floaters just came back, and then there was a period where it just didn't do anything. And this was the first enzyme I bought, was the bromelain, and then eventually I went out and I got the nattokinase and the serrapeptase. And the thing I heard about this is that if you want any enzyme to work, you need the serrapeptase, because that's the most potent proteolytic enzyme, and no other enzymes can work unless you take the serrapeptase. And this nattokinase is supposed to go into arteries, and it helps block up if you have circulation issues, if you have plaque forming, the nattokinase is supposed to help. It also thins your blood, it increases circulation. So The point I want to make about the enzymes, if you take the bromelain by itself, you might not notice anything. If you take the bromelain with nattokinase and serrapeptase, you should get a pretty significant reaction where you notice a major difference. However, the enzymes that's not what actually cures the floaters long term. And so this took me forever to figure out that heavy metals, I want people to try this because I've narrowed it down to heavy metal exposure. And this wasn't even on my radar. But once I added, so this is liposomal glutathione right here. You can see the brand I have here. That's liposomal glutathione. And I also have a methyl B complex. This is now what I take, so I don't have to take, I went through a stage testing all the isolated B vitamins, and then I just settled on this. This is a methylated B vitamin that I love. And I also, I think the Jarrow's Famil E is a good vitamin E supplement. You might not need this at all. I'm going to prioritize the most important supplements that I know work the best. Because you'll see when you do this. But so where did I get heavy metals from? And this is, I did smoke in college, so that could be one way that I got heavy metals. But I've been eating fish my whole life. I love fish. I eat too much fish. I don't know if I got heavy metal poisoning from fish though, because I also had one single amalgam, a mercury amalgam in my mouth. And so I had that one mercury filling that I had removed 2 or 3 years ago, but nothing changed in my floater. My floater didn't improve. Nothing. I didn't feel any health difference. There are so many ways. I also live in a populated area. It could be air pollution. Heavy metals come through food. Potatoes have cadmium. There are all kinds of different ways that you can get exposed to heavy metals. So let me explain this. So the glutathione, I have 2 different types of glutathione here. I have free glutathione, which is just a free powder glutathione. And that's the bulk supplements. So when I bought this glutathione and I started taking it sublingually, I noticed that my floaters had a major reaction where they started clearing up really quickly. But again, they weren't going away. How much was the improvement? I don't know, maybe a 50% reduction with the glutathione, doing it sublingually. And I started thinking, okay, so maybe the glutathione is bleaching the floaters, because it does lighten your skin. And maybe it was somehow just bleaching the floaters and making them more transparent and less obvious. And that's what was, maybe it wasn't actually removing the floaters. It was just making it easier to see through them because they were being bleached. That's what I assumed was going on. And then I added the glutathione with alpha lipoic acid, which is this bottle here. And so this is alpha lipoic acid. And I noticed when I started combining the glutathione with the alpha lipoic acid, the effect was unbelievable. And then, and I was doing the methyl B complex and the family. But anyway, so when I don't want to get too distracted here. When I added alpha lipoic acid and glutathione, I was pretty shocked. I was like, okay, this is a clear effect. And so I started reading about what exactly does alpha lipoic acid do? What does glutathione do? And I was also taking vitamin C, about 3 to 4 grams a day along with these. And because I was my instinct, it wasn't instinct, I was noticing that certain supplements were just making my floaters way better. So I started reading about all these supplements that were working really well. And I started to notice they're all chelators. They all chelate heavy metals from your body. And so I was like, okay, is there any stronger chelator on the market that I don't have yet? And this is literally the last supplement I've bought. There's no other supplement on the market, I think, that I can buy. And it's the EDTA sodium. And this is a potent chelator. And so I was testing all this other stuff for 7 months, and I started to lock in on the liposomal glutathione, the alpha lipoic acid, which I should mention, there's this R lipoic form. Let me see if I can get this on the video. That bottle in the back, it says R lipoic acid, and this is alpha lipoic acid. The R lipoic acid is a stronger mercury chelator. It's twice as strong. And that's, I take the R lipoic acid now, but I do think the alpha lipoic acid will work fine. The R lipoic acid is just twice as strong. So I would, you know, if you had the money, I would ignore the alpha lipoic acid and I would do the R lipoic acid. So the first two supplements that you should start with is R lipoic acid and glutathione, but you have to get the glutathione into your system, so you want to get the liposomal glutathione. You can buy the powder and you can do it sublingually. And here's another really cool thing I noticed, and this is something I discovered with EDTA too. So you can take the glutathione, and in this bottle here, this is, so let me get, so I went to the liquor store. I don't drink, but I went to the liquor store and I got a bottle of Smirnoff's 100 because I was trying to make a transdermal solution using alcohol that would quickly get these supplements into my